The origins of Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun, also known as the Boy King, was born into a world of extraordinary transformation. His birth, around 1341 BCE, occurred during the 18th dynasty of Egypt, a period marked by the rise of the New Kingdom, a time of unprecedented power and wealth for Egypt. His exact birth date remains uncertain, and much about his early life is still shrouded in mystery, but his story is one of intrigue, fortune, and legacy. The 18th dynasty was a time of great prosperity for Egypt, but it was also a period of upheaval. The reign of his father, Akhenaten, stands out in Egyptian history as a period of radical religious reform. Akhenaten broke with the long-standing polytheistic traditions of Egypt and introduced the worship of a single god, the Aten, the sun disk. This revolutionary change destabilized the religious and political landscape of Egypt, leading to a tense relationship between the king and the powerful priesthood of Amun. Akhenaten's establishment of a new capital at Akhenaten, modern-day Amarna, was part of his attempts to centralize religious and political authority around the Aten, but this alienated many factions within the kingdom. Akhenaten's family life remains a point of intrigue. While it's generally believed that Tutankhamun was the son of Akhenaten and one of his lesser-known wives, Kia, there is evidence suggesting that his mother may have been Nefertiti, Akhenaten's famous queen. The exact identity of Tutankhamun's mother is difficult to confirm due to the gaps in historical record. Nefertiti's relationship to Tutankhamun has been the subject of much speculation. Nefertiti's presence in the royal court at the time of Tutankhamun's birth and her disappearance from the historical record shortly thereafter raises intriguing questions. Although Tutankhamun's early years are poorly documented, one thing is certain. His birth placed him at the center of an unprecedented royal family, one that was deeply involved in both political revolution and religious upheaval. The years surrounding his birth were tumultuous, and the legacy of Akhenaten would affect his reign. The rise of the Boy King. While Tutankhamun ascended to the throne, he was likely no more than 8 or 9 years old, still a child by any measure. The suddenness of his rise was due to the mysterious death of his father, Akhenaten, and the brief reign of his older brother, Smenkhare, who may have been a co-regent with Akhenaten or a short-lived ruler in his own right. After Smenkhare's death, whether by illness, assassination, or natural causes, Tutankhamun was crowned king. In ancient Egypt, a king's ability to rule effectively required not only military might and administrative acumen, but also the support of key officials and powerful institutions. Tutankhamun's youth meant that his regency was dominated by advisors who controlled the levers of power in Egypt. Key figures in his early reign included a senior advisor and high-ranking official who would eventually succeed Tutankhamun as pharaoh, and Horemheb, a general who would restore order to Egypt's military and political scene after Tutankhamun's death. Tutankhamun's reign was characterized by attempts to undo many of the radical changes that had been instituted by his father. Akhenaten's religious reforms had alienated Egypt's powerful priesthood of Amun, one of the wealthiest and most influential institutions in the country. Amun's temples had fallen into disrepair, and the priesthood had been diminished during Akhenaten's reign. Upon taking the throne, Tutankhamun, likely under the guidance of his regents, began to restore the old religious order. The god Amun was once again placed at the center of Egypt's pantheon, and the capital was moved back to Thebes, away from Akhenaten's controversial city of Akhenaten. Tutankhamun's first actions as pharaoh seem to have been focused on mending the political and religious rift left by Akhenaten's reforms. Egypt's official religion was restored to its polytheistic roots, with the vast majority of the population returning to the worship of Amun, and the elaborate rituals associated with the god being re-established. The new king's restoration of the old gods signified his adherence to the ancient traditions that had once made Egypt a powerful and unified state. Although his reign was marked by these restorations, there is little evidence to suggest that Tutankhamun played an active role in the political or military affairs of Egypt. His reign, therefore, was likely more ceremonial than substantive, with the real power laying in the hands of his regents. Despite the apparent instability surrounding his reign, Egypt's internal order was largely restored. The evidence suggests that and Horemheb served as stewards of the king's legacy, with later assuming the throne after Tutankhamun's death. The mysteries surrounding Tutankhamun. Tutankhamun's life and reign are enveloped in a cloud of mystery. His sudden ascension to the throne, his rapid rise to power, his early death, and the discovery of his tomb all contribute to the enigma surrounding the boy king. Most historians agree that Tutankhamun was a figurehead rather than a powerful ruler, but the question remains, what was his role in the larger political landscape of Egypt? One of the most persistent mysteries of Tutankhamun's reign is the cause of his premature death. Unlike many pharaohs, there's no known record of a campaign or great accomplishment under his name. While his reign lasted only 10 years, his death at around 18 or 19 years old remains a subject of intense debate. In 2005, a team of Egyptian and international researchers used advanced technology, including CT scans and DNA analysis, to examine Tutankhamun's mummified remains. The scans revealed that the king had suffered from several health problems. He had a cleft palate and a club foot, which would have made him physically weak and potentially prone to injury. He also suffered from malaria, a common illness in ancient Egypt, which could have weakened his immune system and likely contributed to his death. Additionally, the scans revealed that Tutankhamun's leg had been broken shortly before his death, leading to theories that the break had become infected, contributing to his death. This suggests that he may have died as a result of an accident or illness rather than any kind of violent attack or assassination. However, the fact that his burial was hurried and his mummification less than perfect led to other theories. Some speculate that Tutankhamun's death was the result of foul play, an assassination carried out by those who sought to claim the throne for themselves. Yet, no solid evidence has ever been found to support this theory, leaving many questions about the cause of his death unanswered. Even more mysterious is the absence of detailed records about his reign. Few monuments bearing his name have ever been found, and his tomb, located in the Valley of the Kings, is much smaller than those of other pharaohs. His royal tomb, KV62, was remarkably intact when it was discovered by Howard Carter in 1922, and the treasures it contained were unparalleled in their magnificence. However, the tomb's relatively modest size and the hastiness of its construction suggest that it was a secondary burial rather than a tomb prepared for a powerful king. This has led to further speculation about the circumstances surrounding Tutankhamun's death. The tomb's treasures, including a solid gold mask, jewelry, chariots, and a throne, provide evidence that Tutankhamun was viewed as a powerful king in death, even though his life was not marked by major military conquests or political achievements. His reign may have been brief and uneventful, but his tomb tells a different story, one of immense wealth and artistry. The discovery of his tomb, filled with unimaginable riches, captured the world's imagination and spurred renewed interest in ancient Egypt. Tutankhamun's burial. The death of Tutankhamun, though tragic, remains one of the most significant events in Egyptian archaeology. The boy king was buried hastily, suggesting that his death was sudden, and that the preparations for his tomb were rushed. The body was embalmed quickly and without the elaborate ritualistic care that typically accompanied the burial of a pharaoh. His tomb was small compared to the others in the Valley of the Kings, indicating that it was not intended to be the grand resting place of a powerful monarch. The treasures within the tomb were staggering, suggesting that the king's significance was only fully realized after his death. Tutankhamun's burial chamber contained an extraordinary array of artifacts, many of which were made of gold and precious metals. The most famous artifact of all is his golden death mask, a lifelike representation of the king's face, which had become one of the most iconic images in Egyptian history. His tomb contained numerous chariots, weapons, and daily items, including furniture and clothing. These artifacts suggest that the Egyptians believed in an afterlife, in which the pharaoh would continue to need the comforts and possessions that he had enjoyed in life. Despite the relatively humble nature of his tomb, the riches contained with it underscore Tutankhamun's lasting importance in Egyptian culture. His sudden death and hasty burial left an indelible mark on Egypt's history, and the mystery surrounding it has only added to the allure of the boy king. Tutankhamun's legacy and the fascination with his life. The discovery of the tomb in 1922 by British archaeologist Howard Carter sent shockwaves throughout the world. The media frenzy that followed the discovery of the tomb and the subsequent display of the treasures captivated the public's imagination. The boy king, long forgotten by history, became a symbol of ancient Egypt's power, beauty, and mystery. Tutankhamun's stories continue to captivate people around the world, and his tomb remains one of the most visited archaeological sites in Egypt. His name is synonymous with Egyptology, and the image of his golden death mask is one of the most recognizable symbols of ancient Egypt. But the fascination with Tutankhamun goes beyond the treasures of his tomb. The mystery of his life and death, combined with the discovery of his tomb, has kept him in the public eye for nearly a century. His legacy lives on, not just as a historical figure, but as a symbol of the allure and mystery of ancient Egypt. Tutankhamun's Curse, the legend of the Pharaoh's revenge. The Curse of the Pharaohs, linked to Tutankhamun's tomb, is one of archaeology's most captivating myths. This legend gained traction after British archaeologist Howard Carter discovered the tomb in 1922. Reports at the time suggested that disturbing the tomb would bring death or misfortune to intruders, supposedly evidenced by an inscription warning of a curse. Though no such inscription was ever found, media fascination with the tomb fueled stories of supernatural vengeance, leading to the curse myth to become an enduring part of Tutankhamun's legacy. The deaths of several people connected with the tomb's discovery seem to support the curse narrative, the most famous case being that of Lord Carnarvon, the British nobleman who financed the expedition. Carnarvon died suddenly in 1923, just months after the tomb's discovery, from an infected mosquito bite. The timing of his death, so soon after entering the tomb, sparked widespread rumours that he had fallen victim to the curse. The media sensationalized this story and linked several other deaths to the curse, including American millionaire George Gould and Sir Bruce Ingram, whose home was destroyed by fire shortly after his visit to the tomb. While some deaths were due to natural causes or old age, these incidents fed into the public's belief in the curse. Media frenzy surrounding the tomb's discovery continued to build as newspapers embellished stories of mysterious deaths and described the tomb as a repository of dangerous, malevolent magic. The public eagerly consumed these stories, and over time, the curse of the pharaohs took on a life of its own, portraying Tutankhamun as a vengeful spirit enacting retribution on those who disrupted his rest. However, the curse theory has largely been debunked. Most deaths associated with the tomb were due to ordinary circumstances. Carnarvon's infection, for example, could be attributed to the common bacteria in Egypt's climate, while others died from age-related illness or pre-existing conditions. Howard Carter himself, who led the excavation, lived until 1939, long after the tomb's opening, further weakening claims of a curse. Scholars now generally believe that the curse was a media invention, capitalizing on ancient Egypt beliefs about tomb protection and the allure of the unknown. Despite scholarly dismissals, the legend of Tutankhamun's curse has persisted, symbolizing ancient Egypt's mystique and fueling fascination with the boy king. The curse has inspired numerous books, films, and documentaries, often exaggerating the myth for dramatic effect. This narrative aligns with modern cultural fascination with curses and the unknown, feeding into a larger-than-life portrayal of ancient Egypt as a land of magic and danger. Even though the curse concept is not taken seriously within academic circles today, it continues to be a significant cultural reference, adding to the mythos of Tutankhamun. The curse has become an essential part of his story, transforming his tomb from an historical artifact into a symbol of the mysterious and captivating power of ancient Egypt. What a mysterious life and death King Tut had, eh? And let me know in the comments below what you thought about it, especially the curse. Do you think it's real or not? This channel is for curious people just like us, who love mysteries, secrets, myths, and ancient history. So why not check out the rise and fall of the dinosaurs, or the lost civilization of the Incas on screen now? Okay, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, stay curious.